Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered in the CARBOT skin. If you're wondering what this is, it is a StarCraft cartoon skin that Blizzard officially commissioned from a CARBOT animation a couple of months ago. Maybe 6 months now? I'm not entirely sure when it was, but if you haven't seen CARBOT animations, search for it on YouTube and you will not be disappointed. He does animations for a lot of Blizzard games, and if you're a fan of a Blizzard, then you should not miss this. Alright, so on the left side of the map, we have the orange Zerg player, Sziky. And on the right side of the map, it is the white Protoss player, Whitera, the Ukrainian. Now, fun fact, I've only cast a couple games by Sziky on my channel. One of them is an incredible, 35-minute ZVP between these two players on Heartbreak Ridge, same map that I posted back in November. Really fantastic game, got 12,000 views, which is more than I normally get. The other one was one that I cast back in 2015 against Sziky, a Legacy of the Void match between Sziky and Sziky on November 29th, 2015, which is right after Legacy of the Void was released. Absolutely crazy. So Sziky is a Hungarian player, a country not specifically known for its incredible StarCraft talent, but a great player nevertheless. Again, if you can go to 34 minutes versus Whitera, you're gonna do okay for yourself here. So that was a quick gas, but he canceled the gas when the probe came in, when it was clear that Whitera was going to probe scout him. So he's canceled the gas. He doesn't have an expansion either. Sziky, what is your plan here exactly? At this point, it's going to be slow lings and then an expansion, I guess. It'd be nice to toss it down here if you can. Yeah, I mean, so definitely Forge expanding here is Whitera. He wants to check to make sure that nobody's trying to knock down, or rather mine through these minerals up in the top right. It can be a very sneaky backdoor. Recognizes, okay, nothing's happening up there. Great. Let's go ahead and continue on with the plan. Maybe make a single cannon and then expand. Does he still not have an expansion? Sziky is trying to expand. If you don't have gas or an expansion at 2 minutes, you're going to be in trouble. I do love how cute the drones and the probes are, though. I like this skin. I try to do it every once in a while, not all the time, just so it still feels special when I do it, but you can get the cartoon skin in the Blizzard store. Just search StarCraft cartooned, and you'll be taken to the page for your country in particular. So he's going to throw up 2 cannons to deal with the 6 lings, well, 5 lings that are on the way. Where does other, 2, wait, what? Oh, one's going this way. All right, so for the 8 lings that are on the way, 2 cannons seems fine. Hasn't quite expanded yet either because he had to spend those resources on that cannon. But 2 cannons should be able to hold this, and the Overlord can see it, and the lings are like, fine. Let's go back home. Let's take a quick third base. That's what this drone is all about. Get some gas eventually. But let's try to out-macro the macro plays here. I would normally say that Whitera maybe wasted these cannons, but no. He did not. He needed them for these lings. It's more that Sziky wasted the resources on lings that aren't going to accomplish anything at all. I almost feel like a run-by would be possible here. We know how incredibly annoying it can be for a Protoss player to have a couple lings running around loose inside his base. Jaedong is really good at pulling this off and just getting a full scout around. Oh, it's a gateway even before that Nexus here. Maybe Nexus, whatever. It's close, but definitely a gateway here too. But he doesn't feel like even going for it. So just running around trying to find scouting probes, which he's going to find this one. Bah, bah, bah. I love the animation of the shield as it gets hit. It's one of my favorite things, is shields getting hit. Seems like a strange thing. We're going for a lair because obviously we're assuming it's a Stargate opening right now from Whitera. Lings up, trying to make sure there's no third base coming up here from Whitera that is undefended and a bit sneaky, but there's not. Day 9 actually came out with a video last week, you guys. Did you see it? A Brood War video. He doesn't really usually do Brood War stuff, unfortunately. It's more Dota and card games and stuff, which, I don't know. I watched him because he was a StarCraft guy, and I love him a lot, but I just can't watch him talk about other stuff, unfortunately. Which I'm sure a lot of you guys feel about me when I do stuff that you guys don't care about either, so I understand it. But yeah, he had a video about how weird PvZ is, and how weird that Bisu came along and switched up the meta to where he would go for Corsairs to kill the Overlords of the Zerg, and if the Zerg didn't go to Scourge, then he would just lose. So somehow this matchup turned into a massive air battle between 2 units that can't even shoot down at all. And then eventually, if that thing stabilizes, then we get into armies that kill each other. And it's a good point. It's true. It happens more often than not. A lot of these games do just start with Corsair openings, and then the Zerg player has to rush to Scourge, and it takes a while to get there because spires take forever and lairs aren't that short on construction time either. But, yeah, I mean, we're never going to get a balance patch for StarCraft. I just wonder if maybe one day it would be interesting if the game were changed up a little bit. Like, I think you could probably nerf Corsairs a bit to where they weren't in numbers, just Overlord killing machines, so that Zerg wasn't forced to go to Scourge or Hydralisks, I guess. And they could do other stuff. It might mix up the matchup a bit. It might make Zerg a little overpowered, which maybe wouldn't be ideal. But yeah, I don't think StarCraft has thought about balance in Brood War at any stage at all in the last 10 years at least. So that's not going to happen. Anyway, both players macroing up here. Corsair production is on the way. The Spire is just about done, so Zyky's going to be just fine against the Corsairs. They're going to show up here. Got a bunch of Lings. Ooh, almost got a surround on that Dragoon. A surround on that Dragoon would have insta-killed the Dragoon and been very annoying. Really annoying for Whiteraw here. But Whiteraw, known as one of the older players in StarCraft. He's been playing for a very long time. He had a good career in StarCraft 2 as well. Sziky is actually 31 now. So 31 years old. I believe Whiteraw is 39 currently. So about 10 years older. So Sziky, a baby when this game was played. I think this was played in 2009. If I can trust some of the information that I have about this. So 2009 was 10 years ago, so Whiteraw was still a bit of the old man, but Zyky's the age that he was now, which is incredible. Oh, free Corsair. Yeah, that's good value. That is good value. 2 Scourge for a Corsair is a trade that any Zerg player will make any day of the week. Absolutely, positively. Templar Archives coming up for Whiteraw. No sign of a third base yet, just 2 base Tekken at the moment, and Zyky's third base is really paying off for him economically right now, I gotta say. He's up 35 to 31 workers. He's getting some Sunkens at his third base because he recognizes this is going to be happening sooner rather than later. Bob the Zealot hoofing it down here with his buddies, but Ling's delaying as much as they can, letting the Sunkens come up here. Hydralisk Den for a block as well. Natural base does have 1 Sunken too. Recognizing this isn't 8 Zealots, this is 4 Zealots and a Dragoon, which is a lot easier to hold with Lings and Sunkens, rather than needing like 2 or 3 Sunkens per base, which is what, 8 to 10 Zealots would do for you. So Zyky's doing a good job reading exactly what is coming out right now. This is one of my favorite things too in the cartoon skin, is the little Zergling hanging out in the spawning pool. He's so adorable. He's so cute. Look at that guy. Aw, let me guess. Gateway, Pylon, Gateway. Yeah, more Corsairs in production. Zealots do show up, but we've got Hydras and we have a Sunken here, so I don't know. Drones get pulled temporarily to try to hold. The Scourge are like, what do we... where are the... There's no shuttle. There's no Corsair around. What are we supposed to do with our lives? Well, it's a fair point, Scourge. You're very squishy. If you try to scout, you're probably going to get picked off by a Dragoon or a cannon at some point. But the High Templar are out. Storm is being researched. Storm is the great equalizer in PvZ. If you have the Storm, you're going to be fine against Zerg. If you don't have the Storm, you're probably going to die against any number of things that Zerg can do to ruin your day. Corsair count, 4 of them out here. They're hiding. He's trying to make it seem like he doesn't have a lot, but I think he spotted it a little bit there with the Scourge. So he's going to go ahead and, let's see, getting upgrade for his Hydras, getting ranged attacks, getting missile attacks here too. He's got the speed already because these are zippity doodah Hydras. They want to catch this group. Can they block that Dragoon? I think that Dragoon is dead. He's got 4 legs, but the Hydras are faster. Or they could let him live. That'd be fine. Nope, he's dead. So this is a pretty good attack. I'm liking this out of Sziky. If he can hit before Storm is done, which he can, he's taking too long. Nope, Storm is done. This aggression shall not stand. He's going to have to Storm dodge like his life depends on it, because there are how many High Templar here? There's only 2. I thought there were more than that. There's 2, but they have energy. They have enough energy for 1 Storm. Not quite 2 yet, but they're working on it. They'll get there. Meanwhile, in Zergville, Evolution Chamber coming up. Third base, getting that 3rd gas, and it's a 2-base Whiteraw. So we've got some DTs out, which again is very fun. Very fun on the animated side of things. They're trying to sneak out here around the Hydras, which they do. I don't know about these Hydras. I don't know if there's an angle they can get anywhere where they don't just get stormed into oblivion. So Overlord detecting. I don't know what these DTs are planning on doing exactly. Maybe trying to shut down an attempt at a fourth base for the Zerg player. Corsair Ball is out, and they are scary. There are 6 of them here. Production says more Hydras. More Hydras all the time to deal with these Corsairs. DT Hydra, though, pretty good. Except for the fact that there are Overlords here and enough Hydras to chase those Corsairs away. So the Hydra Ball is big enough. I'm telling you, Sziky's playing this pretty well. A lesser Zerg player would have mashed his face into the front door here and just lost everything to Zealots and Storm. A lesser player would have not been quite prepared for this Corsair count and lost a bunch of his Overlords, but he has so many Hydras with range and +1 missile attack. He's doing all right. I gotta say, Sziky is holding here. I'm telling you, if you can make it to the 30-minute mark against Whiteraw, you're an okay player. You might not be winning major tournaments anytime soon, but you are not bad. You are representing your country of Hungary very well. Is that Singularity Charge? I think that's Singularity Charge wrapping up here at the 11-minute mark, which, again, you can do when your opponent has this many Hydras because they're going to go for Lurkers eventually. And Lurker aspect, if you don't have Dragoons to deal with Lurkers, you're going to have a bad time. You just don't need it early, necessarily. Dragoons don't trade very well versus Lings and Hydras anyway. It's really only things like Mutalisks and things like Lurkers you need the Dragoons for. Also, not bad against Ultralisks. Not ideal, though. What you really want there are Dark Templars doing big swings, and stuff like Archons can do okay. But not generally Dragoons, unless you outnumber... There we go. 9 Lurkers on the way. Unless you outnumber the Ultras like 8-1, which, again, in general, if you outnumber anything 8-1, no matter what the matchup is, you're probably going to win. Dark Templar, again, fast... Well, fast enough to escape, yeah. Corsair's trying to make sure there aren't any drops happening here. Third base, still not established from Whiteraw here at the 12-minute mark, which is not good. I'm going to label it as a not good setup. Lurkers on the high ground. Hydras here as well. There you go. Third base getting started for Whiteraw now. He clears it out. Clears out the infestation, but I mean, Sziky's working on a 4th base and a 5th base. He's double expanding. He feels so comfortable right now. He's got the tech that he needs, and he is ready and willing to win with it. Now, the question is, can he go for Defilers? I'd like to see him get Defiler tech now that he's comfortable at 117 supply. He's got map control at this stage of the game. He's double expanding. If he could upgrade, get a Queen's Nest, go for a Hive, and start making some Defilers for Plague, like a giant Plague on this group would be disgustingly good. Some Dark Swarm would be pretty good against all the Dragoons that are in production right now. There's 5 at a time coming on in. We have seen a mistake from Zerg players in the past, not go for those Spellcasters against a good Protoss player, and it never goes well for them. So we'll see how this works out. Holding this area allows these 2 bases to come up. So great zoning here from Sziky. He's got some patrolling up here to the north, too, to make sure he doesn't get jumped onto his natural, but he has enough army to handle it here, too, I think. Spreading the Lurkers out so that one Storm can't kill multiple Lurkers at a time. I'm telling you, Sziky's doing everything right except going for Defilers. He needs them. He needs them like a fish needs water. I worry about this. Sziky, again, he's doing all right. I know he's down 40 supply, I get that. But he is so happily on 5 bases right now. He's going to drone up a whole bunch. He's going to saturate those up. Whiteraw on 3 bases is pretty abjectly terrifying, especially with all the Storm that he has, and especially getting Kandarian Amulet, which increases the total amount of energy that a High Templar can store. I'm still... Okay, Queen's Nest. Finally, a Queen's Nest starts at 13 minutes. I feel like that could have started a while ago. But he is spending his money. It's not like he's floating minerals here. He's floating a bunch of gas, which he could use for, I don't know, more Lurkers, I suppose. Trying to move on out. And yeah, this number of Dragoons will trade well versus these Lurkers and these Hydras. Look at this trap, though. Hydra's down here, Hydra's up here, and Ling's behind. Hey, he says, come into this Lurker group. There's nothing supporting them at all. Unfortunately, Whiteraw does not take the bait, unfortunately in Zyky's case. And he's going to come into the middle here, just trying to see what's what. Very smart, you know, just not walking up a ramp if you don't have to. Not something you've scouted out already anyway. Observer in a very precarious position. If this Overlord moves up a little bit, it's dead. Nice Storm, though. Ow, ow, ow. Bit of a whiff on that one. Bit of a whiff there, and a Hive is coming up. All right, so Zyky's got a Hive. It takes some time to get there. Will he get Defilers out in time? I do not know. Whiteraw just happily sitting on 3 bases. His Corsair count is making sure that drops don't murder him, and like a really weird Mutalisk tech switch doesn't kill him either. That's what these Corsairs are for. They were for harassment. Now they are Mutalisk insurance. Because every Protoss player knows what it feels like to be tech switched into like 16 Mutalisks that show up at your base and you don't have enough to stop them and then you die. It's a bad feeling. It is what it is. Hive's about 50-60% complete. Robotic support bay coming in. White Raw getting all of the big Protoss units here. He's going to have Reavers soon. And the army needs to relocate. Come on down, Sziky. Fight directly with these Dragoons. That's the thing. Hydras can fight directly with Dragoons unless they're Storm, in which case they can't. Because the Storm will destroy them. White Raw has taken the 12 o'clock base. It's a mineral-only position, but he will want a lot of Zealots. So he could use a mineral-only base for that particular purpose. He's got a shuttle out for some special tactics. We'll see if he's able to storm drop a base or two. But this is a pretty good setup with a Spore and some Hydras at that 5th base. And not much anti-air down here at the 6 o'clock, but that's kind of hard to engage. I guess it's a pretty short trip, honestly, with the shuttles. To come right over here. We'll have to watch that one. Watch that angle. Archon's in production here, too. And White Raw is effectively maxed out. Sziky is getting a Defiler mount. It's almost done. He's getting an Ultralisk Cavern, too. He needs to hold until he has that tech, because what White Raw has is absolutely an anti-Hydra Lurker combination. That's the composition that White Raw has chosen. It's extremely intelligent. He recognizes he's on a timer here, too, because a good Zerg player will be getting up to those Defilers and catching a Plague to the face. Or a Dark Swarm like Ling Flood-in can be pretty bad, but that's what the Zealots are for. They have +2 attack, along with the Dragoons, obviously. The Lings are sitting at 2-1. The Hydras are sitting at 2-2, along with the Lurkers, because they share those upgrades. Plague coming in. I think that's the Plague. No, that's a Scarab. That's a Scarab in production, because there's Reavers. This is the Zerg side. Falcon, you're very smart. You're very good at this game. So, again, if you were... Oh, that's a Reaver up there. I was going to say, like a Dark Swarm and a Ling attack up here would do tons of good work, but... maybe not with the Reaver, because the splash damage ignores that Dark Swarm protection. Lings trying to maybe force a cancel on this base. At very least, they're going to get a probe. And can they take down the Nexus before the army shows up? The answer is no. I mean, they have upgrades. But not enough upgrades and not enough of them. I mean, what was that? Like 75 minerals worth of units. Can they kill a Nexus? They shouldn't be able to. Not really. Guess you made Ultralisks, though. Happy Trundly Ultralisks that are messing up with their pathing. Have to walk through a mineral line to get out to the front, which really sucks. The Sunken is blocking them in just barely. Extremely, extremely annoying stuff, to be sure. Yeah, I mean, this is just, it's the Storm, man. If there was no Storm, this Hydra Lurker composition would do incredibly well here, but Storm changes all of that. It really does. So both players have taken their respective sides of the map. They've got a triangle here, just going right down the middle. White Raw was able to get up to the bases he needed. Sziky got there first, but it doesn't really matter in the end. Sziky's maxed out. White Raw's maxed out. We're at 18 minutes. These players have been kind of posturing around each other for the whole game. Let's see if one of them can make something happen here or not. They get a High Templar snipe. Okay. One High Templar down is good. There's still 2 here, though, and they have... well, this one's got enough for a couple storms at least. Alright, Ziky's got the Ultralisks. Does he have the detection needed for this Dark Templar, though? Maybe. Almost. There he is. Alright. So, the Reavers... Reavers are an answer to Ultralisks. Absolutely, for sure. I did not mention them in my previous list of things that are good against Ultralisks, but Reavers are incredibly good. So, Protoss has an answer to everything that Zerg needs to do. And sometimes it makes Zerg look a little bit helpless. Because, I mean, if there's this kind of a composition with Storm and Dragoons and Reavers, what do you even make as Zerg to counter this? Ooh, some Queens on the way from Sziky. He's actually making Queens, though. I think that's Plague that's almost done. Dude, that No! No! Ah, full energy Defiler gets sniped down. That hurts. It's really sloppy from Sziky here. I don't know. I don't know if I've cast a game where both players just kind of posture on their side of the map as long as these guys have. So Plague down, decent. Plague, Defiler trying to get out of there. Did toss down maybe another Plague? I don't know. He's dead now, which is a problem. But yeah, ooh, another good Plague. Okay, okay. So a lot of these Protoss units are injured and getting worse with the jelly and jam that's been spread all over their faces, making Ultralisks that much more effective. And especially if there aren't any Reavers here, that can be a problem. So the Ultras are sitting on their 6 armor. They got +2 attack. Are they working on additional upgrades? Not really. But what are the Queens up to? I don't know. Let's see what the Queens are here to do. They get Parasite by default. Not something that we see a lot of. Even though Protoss has no way to get rid of Parasite, it's just, I don't know. I guess Zerg have other ways of scouting exactly what their opponents are up to. So what are these Queens doing? They're very happy, for one. So are the Ultralisks, by the way. Hello! Oh, he did Parasite. Holy crap. He parasited the Reaver. Oh, the Scarab prevents the High Templar from fleeing there. That hurts. That hurts a lot. Meanwhile, the Dark Swarm Lurker Burrow up here at the top left-hand base of the Protoss, trying to snipe down this Reaver, and he is gone, and this is a much better attack now. White is going to lose his top left-hand base. That's a big-time deal from Sziky. That Reaver not able to hold by itself here. The Lings with adrenal glands and the +2 attack are mean. The Nexus is down. The army shows up to respond, but they're pretty slow with the Reavers if they don't have any shuttle response here. So at this point, we're going to leave the Lurkers here, see what damage they can get done, and the base is down for White, and I'm not sure how long it's going to be before he's able to restore it. So look who's taking the middle. White is taking the middle to make up for the fact that he lost his top left-hand base, which is hilarious. It's like, fine, I've been sitting here for a while. Let's take the middle base then. That's fantastic. All right, so Sziky is trying to go for this thing. We got Reavers in the mix. We got Ultralisks down here. We got DTs, and Zealots are doing fantastically well. Lurker's trying to burrow on up. The Reavers are fairly untouched right now. Zealots getting cleared out. Get inside the Dark Swarm. Reavers wrecking everything. Play getting tossed down there, but again, attacking into an entrenched Protoss position with Reaver defense is really, really hard to do. 12 Ultralisks at a time in production right now, though. We're going for it again, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying to get, for some reason, we're attacking cannons instead of, you know, the Reavers. Another great Plague, but he's not really following up with this at all. So finally, this Lurker in the top left gets taken down. About time. But the center belongs to Whitera. So I don't know. I'm not sure who's up here at the moment. Sziky has more supply. His income is super healthy. I'm not sure he's been making good trades is the problem. All right, man. We're coming from both sides. Dark Swarm to the left side. No Dark Swarm to the south. The Reavers are here to deal with the Lings and the Ultras and the Hydras as well as they can. Another Dark Swarm is up. The cannons are in trouble, but the Reavers, boy. The Reavers, my friend. They are doing all right for themselves. More Swarm, though. Still coming in, taking down cannons. Ultralisks being protected fairly effectively. Has Sziky actually taken this base down? He just has too much Zerg right now. The Reaver micro is pretty fantastic from Whitera. As we would expect, the special tactics with a middle base gets destroyed. Sziky finally able to overwhelm the defenses and take it down. Whitera's trying to reestablish his top left-hand base, but suddenly he's effectively down to a couple bases mining right now. It is not ideal for him at all. He's down 153 to 132 total supply. Ultralisks and Lings versus the Assimilator. It's down. This northern base. This feels like a final stand here for Whitera. Can he hold on? That Reaver, no! The Reaver ends up going down. There are just too many Zerg units here. Cannons firing at will. Not able to do anything with the Dark Swarm that is up right now. And another base down. And I'm not sure how Whitera comes back from this, ladies and gentlemen. I think Sziky has done it, the Hungarian Zerg player. Just wiping out too much income for White Raw. He's down to 27 probes right now. A great play gets landed on those Corsairs, which is hilarious. Archon gets surrounded and killed. There's Zerg everywhere right now. They're going left. They're going right. They're going back to the middle. Trying to hold this center base right now is Sziky. And I think he can. Again, the jelly doesn't do anything to the Archons. They don't care about it. They're mostly shields anyway. A couple of Reavers holding that top left-hand base. The cannons do deal with the Ultralisk that shows up at the third base location to kill it. But it's 150 to 100 supply, and that is such an advantage for any Zerg player to have. Oh, the Ultralisk still don't have the +3 attack, but I don't think it really matters right now. Is there detection? Where? Oh, this Overlord is providing detection. DTs, last ditch. When behind, make them DTs. Dark Shrine. If you're in StarCraft 2, this is just it, man. I know there's a couple of Reavers and Cannons here, but I mean, the Dark Swarm helps immensely, and the Reavers, if they're just getting focused down eventually, they will get taken down here. But you know what? Not focusing it down. There you go. Ultralisk takes him out. Reaver down. Probes trying to live, and flee top left-hand base is done. And I think that's it for White Raw. His probes are fleeing for their little proby lives. And that's it. Like, I don't know how White Raw wins this game. I'm looking at it right now. He loses another Nexus. That is the 1, 2 here, 3, and 4th Nexus killed in this game. The Corsairs are trying to take down the Overlord, so DTs can actually accomplish something over here. I think might be able to. This Overlord is staying alive long enough. The DT has to flee as his buddy dies. I mean, White Raw he's DTing it. He snipes down a Defiler, but it's 47 to 19 workers. Sziky's been able to hold on to all of his bases this entire game. And sometimes it just comes down to who lost the most bases in a match. Some Hydras showing up, trying to make some stuff happen. Sunken's in production. The center base is gonna go down. And Sziky loses a bunch there. Ultralisk coming on in. They don't have any detection available. And they're forced to flee. Overlords coming on in. The Dark Templar are doing pretty well here. Another Ultralisk does get sniped down. White Raw is fighting hard here. He's actually taken out about 50 supply of Zickies, but he's produced a bunch more Zerglings and more Ultralisks. The Corsairs are getting picked out of the sky. It is a handful of Lings and Ultras versus these DTs and an Archon. And you know what? White Raw is actually doing all right in holding the middle right now. Dude, these two players do really fantastic games together. Sziky and White Raw, I need to do more of them, and I think I have more of them in my replay folders too. But it's 102 to 63 supply. I just don't... I don't know. White Raw doesn't have the income. He can't keep this up. Zicky's got 3,000 minerals in the bank. If he makes 3,000 minerals worth of Zerglings and just floods here, I think he just wins, especially if he has detection available for these DTs. I mean, no bases available. He still hasn't ever gotten that +3 attack for his Lings and his Ultras, which is sort of hilarious that he's been doing this well without it. But man, the patience, the lurker drop in the top left, the center attack, it didn't go so well the first couple times, but it came from both sides, and eventually, just through sheer attrition, was able to take that center base down. And then the northern base was kind of the same story. Nice surround, but if there's two Reavers, not going to go as well. I am really kind of shocked White Raw is staying in this game. I guess it goes to show the power of Reavers versus this Ling Ultra style that Zicky's been going for, but Hyders are in the mix, and if you split well enough, this is just not enough army from Sziky. He's got a couple DTs. 1, 2 High Templar. Reaver dies instantly. The other one goes down too, and that's pretty much it. DTs are doing their front flips, and that's your good game. Go rematch. Sziky says yes. Good game. Let's go. And Sziky wins the game in 29 minutes. What a fantastic display from the Hungarian Zerg. That was great. I loved his macro opening. I love that he held the Corsair attacks very well. White Raw was a bit sloppy with his Corsairs early, and I think that hurt him into the mid-game there. but just able to expand out to every base that belongs to him without losing any of them throughout the entire match is such a big deal. I mean, the fact that he never lost these is so big. 45 drones at the end of the game. And then it was looking pretty dicey in that White Raw had the same number of bases, which is never good, but he's able to kill the middle base and the top left base pretty much simultaneously. Follows up by killing the 12 o'clock base. And then from there, White Raw is just playing, it's an uphill battle. He's got Storm, he's got Reavers, but there's just too much Zerg. And if we look at the final score here, it is going to make it look like the Zerg player lost a bunch because he did. So end of the day, 222,000 points for Sziky, 221 for White Raw. That is pretty dang close. And this is the big deal here. A lot of Protoss buildings went down, which is massive. Units produced, though, is the big one we want. Look at this, 642 Zerg units produced. Only killed 144 of them. That is hard to do. That is hard to win a match when that's what you've done as a Zerg player. But over here, out mining the Protoss player by 4,000 gas and by 9,000 minerals, and then outspending him by a full 11,000 resources too. You can afford to be a little cost efficient if you do that. Kill some Protoss bases, keep your own alive. That is the recipe for success. And Sziky showed it to us today. So great job by him. And that's going to be it from me. So this has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered and the cartoon skin. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.